Did Nixon's Watergate problem alter Earth's global warming impact on climate change? What's the history? Can we learn about it? 1. John Ehrlichman wrote a memo to Patrick Moynihan. 2. A Google search follows about what Nixon knew and when he knew about the new climate change, besides the Watergate break-in. 1. Ehrlichman's memo, Key Facts about the Nixon administration's knowledge of global warming. Advisors issued warnings in a September 1969 memo. Daniel Patrick Moynihan, Nixon's urban affairs advisor, warned that widespread agreement existed that carbon dioxide content would rise significantly by 2000. He cautioned that this could raise average temperatures and cause sea levels to increase by as much as 10 feet, writing, "Goodbye, New York." Goodbye, Washington, for that matter. Fossil fuels identified. Nixon's science advisors explicitly understood that fossil fuel pollution was involved in climate change. They wrote that transportation on land or in the air exerts a deleterious effect upon the atmosphere and is in turn affected by it. Proposed research was ignored. A 1971 proposal from Nixon's science advisors recommended a multi-million-dollar global research project to monitor atmospheric carbon dioxide. This proposal was intended to assist in taking of protective measures against potential natural disasters, but was never implemented. Kissinger warned the UN. In 1974, Secretary of State Henry Kissinger urged world leaders at the UN General Assembly to urgently investigate the problem of climatic changes, noting the risk to the world's poorest nations. Scientists predicted warming, though some media reports at the time sensationalized the idea of global cooling. A 2008 study found that the majority of peer-reviewed scientific literature from the 1970s actually projected future global warming. By 1970, a presidential task force on air pollution had reported that the greatest consequences of air pollution are its effects on the Earth's climate. Ultimately, while the Nixon administration was given clear warnings by scientific experts and advisors about the risks of global warming, the comprehensive climate action that was proposed did not materialize. Find link in description box below. John Ehrlichman gets the climate change concepts right, but his guesses for sea level rise go off the charts. In any case, he's in the ballpark. How would Earth's global warming to cause climate change have slowed or reversed but for 666 Watergate hits? Memorandum, the White House, Washington. September 17, 1969, for John Ehrlichman. As with so many of the more interesting environmental questions, we really don't have very satisfactory measurements of the carbon dioxide problem. On the other hand, this very clearly is a problem, and perhaps most particularly is one that can seize the imagination of persons normally indifferent to projects of apocalyptic change. The process is a simple one. Carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has the effect of a pane of glass in a greenhouse. The C02 content is normally in a stable cycle, but recently man has begun to introduce instability through the burning of fossil fuels. At the turn of the century, several persons raised the question whether this would change the temperature of the atmosphere. Over the years, the hypothesis has been refined and more evidence has come along to support it. It is now pretty clearly agreed that the C02 content will rise 25% by 2000. This could increase the average temperature near the Earth's surface by 7 degrees Fahrenheit. This in turn could raise the level of the sea by 10 feet. Goodbye, New York. Goodbye, Washington, for that matter. We have no data on Seattle. It is entirely possible that there will be countervailing effects. For example, an increase of dust in the atmosphere would tend to lower temperatures and might offset the C02 effect. Similarly, it is possible to conceive fairly mammoth man-made efforts to countervail the C02 rise. In any event, I would think this is a subject that the administration ought to get involved with. It is a natural for NATO. Perhaps the first order of business is to begin a worldwide monitoring system. At present, I believe only the United States is doing any serious monitoring, and we have only 1 or 2 stations. Hugh Hefner knows a great deal about this, as does also the estimable Bob White, head of the U.S. Weather Bureau. So what about Nixon? Yes, President Richard Nixon and his administration were aware of the risks of global warming as early as 1969, decades before climate change became a major public issue. Declassified documents show that his advisors warned him about the potential consequences of rising carbon dioxide levels, though their understanding was incomplete compared to modern science.